We both played football. I was
Yeah.
drafted by the Chicago Bears, and then he was first round draft pick of the New England Patriots for 12, 13 years.
Oh my God. What's his name?
Tim Fox. He was a defensive back.
I
His roommate and my roommate kind of were roommates at Ohio State. Our girlfriends who became our wives. So yeah, it's a small world.
No, I actually remember his name too, Doug. So I'm a big sports fan.
Well, yeah. Tim was he was much more star. He was an All American at Ohio State, first round draft pick for the Patriots,
Yeah.
and so even though he played the same position I did, how can you be mad at your roommate that you're having so much fun with for 4 years? So it was
I
great.
understand it
It was
too.
great.
Yeah, good, good, good. Yeah, I
Well,
see you.
welcome to sports. Welcome to Sports and Shopping with Doug Plank, former Chicago Bears, and Megan, former Miss Texas. Steve, we are so honored that you're with us, and we're so
Thank you.
grateful for rescheduling and doing all the nice things that you've done for Doug and I as he's traveling with his grandkids and his college roommate and his wife and all sorts of fun stuff. So, anyway, so yeah, Doug. So Steve is in Sarasota. You're in Tampa, aren't you?
Well, right now I'm on Marco Island. My college roommate, and I, after we made the NFL, we decided, hey, we're going to buy something together. So we decided, let's go down to this place called Marco Island. And we had a friend down there that said, you can't believe this place. So we went down there and both bought a condo, bought a lot where we're going to build our houses. And we bought some other land also. But Tim, I ended up out in Arizona, which is hard. It's not hard to get to Florida, but it's easier to be living in the Northeast. Tim lives in Boston. It's easy for him to go down to Florida and say, I can't wait till I get to some sunshine. I've never woken up in Scottsdale, Arizona and said, man, I need more sunshine. So I ended up selling, whatever I had down here. And, but I'm down here visiting him right now, him and his wife, Debbie, and with my wife, who they knew each other at Ohio State also. So it makes for a very favorable reunion.
Marco Island's really beautiful. I know that. It's gorgeous.
It is. My son is in the Army in Apollo Beach. He goes to MacDill Air Base. He's involved in some other efforts up there. And but we're gonna after we leave Marco Island, we're gonna go to Apollo Beach, which is another tough assignment. So no, I love it down here. It's beautiful. I mean, all the palm trees, the lake, the Gulf. I mean, it's amazing place. So many people with boats. I'm staying right now with Tim in his Florida home here on Marco Island. He's got a beautiful boat out back and a waterway. It does spoil you for life.
I've been down here 13 years and I love it. I moved from Charlotte and we're real happy here too.
Yeah. You know what? What I like about
funny, Doug, I've never told you this. I have a really great friend of mine, Kay Casperson, who has spas down in Marco Island. She's a friend of mine from Florida. Yeah.
Well, you have to send me that information because I can never pass up a spa. This body, it's like comparing it to a car. It's traveled 200,000 miles. The tires are flat. The shocks are worn out. And a spa is just what I need.
Well, Steve, we're so glad that you're with Doug and I. Doug and I love doing our podcasts. We're great friends and we have a ton of fun doing it. And you do amazing. So just so you know, Doug is heavy into real estate. He has a heavy real estate stuff going on. And so Steve is like feng shui. He's trained all over the world, all over the United States. He's done amazing things. I don't know if you had a chance, Doug, to read his bio and all that kind of stuff, but he's done incredible stuff. So Steve, tell us what you do.
Well, at this point, what I do is that I primarily train new consultants. And so I primarily train people. I don't get out as much anymore to evaluate. I'm in my mid 70s, so it's it gets hard on my body too, Doug, I'll tell you. And but I was in real estate for about 18, 19 years. Found feng shui there to sell my houses, And one thing led to another. I sold my company to do this full time, and I've been doing this now for about 20 years.
That's
Well, it
incredible.
sounds exciting. Yeah, geez, very exciting.
Well, it
Yeah,
sounds it sounds like you know, Doug's always renting out different places and getting different places, but it sounds like I've never truly, just being honest, I mean, I read all of your information, and it's really incredible to me that, you know, things work, how things work when people come into a house when you have feng shui going on. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, the whole thing, I had to find out exactly how it worked myself, and it really affects a person's subconscious mostly. 95% of all of our decisions really happen right there. So it really has a large effect on that when you first come into an environment. Is it's just a different feeling to the whole thing. So there's a lot to do with the five senses, and what to do with color and all those kind of things. And so it really impacted me a great deal when I got involved with it. Before that, I was actually also a certified home stager and knew that worked. You needed to make the house look really good when you're trying to sell it. And so when I found out about feng shui, which was extremely inexpensive to put together for somebody, I was all in. And so I started using it and had great results with it quite early. And one thing led to another, and I've had the opportunity to write a few books on this and be on PBS. And I just fell in love with it and decided to sell my company. Oh, geez, it's about 15 years ago, I guess it was, to my partner. And I've been doing just this. And so it's a very creative kind of thing. I enjoy doing it. As you probably already know, I was a teacher and a coach in New Jersey, and I just decided to try real estate at that point. And when I moved to Charlotte, and really have never looked back.
Steve, how would I get involved, or is it such a very small, tight company? It's strictly a one man operation, or is it something that's available to the public?
Well, like I said, I do train people, so I do have certifications for people, including real estate agents or anybody that's interested, on my website. But I do have a partner, and her name is Lisa Albin, and we've been now training new consultants around the United States and Canada now for 5 years. But before that, I was traveling around the Southeast and actually doing 3-day workshops for realtors. And so it's, part of my teaching background. It's what I've always done. I've always been fairly decent at it. And so I've actually even traveled around the country in airplanes for a real estate associate, not association, but agency. And so there's a lot of interest in it because again, it's inexpensive and it does really change the feeling for a person. But there's a lot of ways to get involved, Doug. But the training is not a rocket science, and so I do have one certifications it's primarily self-paced. It's 30 videos, very colorful, and a lot of people have taken that training now through the years.
So what are
Well,
the three? I'm sorry, Doug, go ahead.
go ahead, Megan. No, I'm just saying. I'm always locked on the television when HGTV comes on. I want to
Right.
get a new idea, a new concept, a new color, a new way to make your house look different. And it amazes me in how some of those contractors make
Yeah.
a house look so different with such
Yeah.
little small amounts of money, simply changing colors and furniture and
Yeah.
things like that, not blowing up the house. And I'm
Right.
thinking,
Right.
my gosh, after they're done, it's worth $50,000 to $100,000 more for something rather minimal, rather than we've all been involved in contract or construction projects we wish we would have started because
Right.
it's so expensive, so difficult to try to
Yeah.
finish. You're calling the best of the best contractors, trying to, at
Yeah.
the end,
Yeah.
trying to fix your mistakes. and something like this would sound like invaluable.
Yeah, I mean, my wife and I have built 5 houses ourselves, so I mean, it's a very time-consuming kind of thing, and you got to stay on top of people for sure. But I mean, I've done this for crack houses and existing homes, people that are building homes, so it's really quite a creative and interesting way to do things. And but I've got to the point where I now mention to people what I call the 8 most impressionable moments when you're trying to sell a house using feng shui. And the first one's curb appeal, and a lot of home stagers don't use much with curb appeal. But there's a particular way to go about doing it so you really attract a heck of a lot of attention, and therefore it pops on the MLS, it pops on the online. And a lot of homes sometimes just don't stop them in their tracks. They just keep moving to the next home when they're on realtor.com or Trulia or whatever. But you got to catch them right away. And so the photos are very important. And I always advocate people to do the 8 steps and then take the photos because you're going to have a lot better shot. There are particular colors that are going to catch their interest right from the start. So, for example, the front door really needs to be a different color than the exterior. And I know if you learned anything about feng shui before, a lot of people think red doors are feng shui. Well, it doesn't have to be a red door, I promise you. And a red door will blend in with brick fronts. And so you never want it to blend in. You want the door to pop. So again, on the photos and when they pull up with their car, they're more enthused. So the 8 steps are curb appeal. The next one is the walk from the car to the front door. The next one's the front door, which is pivotal in feng shui. And then you're walking in for the first time, taking your quick look around. Then there's the room of first impression, which can be to the right or the left, and that is important in feng shui. And then the flow through it. And then the 2 most important rooms when you're selling a house with feng shui are the kitchen and the master bedroom. And so, the 30 modules that are in this training take all that into account, including I have a module on color. And I've been working with this now for 20 years. So,
Wow.
I've put together what I think is a very good program.
So how do people find out about your program?
Well, if you're interested in the real estate part of it, go to www.thefengshuicure.com. If you want to become a new consultant, go to www.intrinsicSchoolOfFengShui.com.
Yeah, and I got that stuff. I got that stuff when you and I were emailing back and forth. So I'm going to
Right.
put those links into this live YouTube.
Right.
When I push it out to everybody, so they'll have all the links for you. But yeah, it's really interesting to me because I really truly I think it makes a decision. My past life was real estate, and I can tell you, I can walk into a house and I feel good or I feel bad. Like it makes a big
Right.
difference.
That's right. Let's face it, we all have walked into a place we wanted to leave right away. And to me, that's bad feng shui. There's something just not right. And if you're trying to sell a house, trying to really encourage somebody to make an offer, that's the last thing you want to do. We're all wired to either fight or flee. And when we go into a new environment, you want to make sure that they want to stay and stay for a long time.
When Doug's renting out his houses, he just says, I'm number 46 and I'm going to tackle you if you don't say yes.
Yeah. No,
And does that work? Yeah.
What's funny though? Many things you're saying. Honestly, I'm thinking of past experiences that I've had in houses. The cheapest house I ever thought for the value was a house that had every room painted a different color. And they weren't just normal colors. They were just strange colors, like way off the normal red, white palette, crazy colors, orange, and they would paint a room 2 or 3 different colors. Every room in the house was a different color, and they could not sell it for almost 6 months. I went in there and said, trying to use a little imagination, like you mentioned, change the color of the front door. How about even try a crazy idea like painting the rooms all the same color, maybe white or something else, that would neutralize it. That would allow somebody to walk in and say, that they're not in the zoo. That this isn't the monkeys and the giraffes and oh my gosh, every room looks so different. And they did the same thing in the bathrooms, made the bathrooms another crazy color combination, which you would never ever think of. And I'm thinking these people, they must be, with all due respect, blind. They could not see what the heck was going on here. And and I think most people just opened the door, looked at all these rooms, and said, "I'm leaving. I'm getting out of here."
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
I totally agree with you, and I love watching television just for what you're talking about. Listen to the buyers as they walk into those houses and say, this is good or this is not good. And usually the not good is colors, combinations, or other obvious things that you just talked about that, go right beyond, they go right over the top. They don't even see it. They just know, I don't like this house.
Yeah. In feng shui, you stay away from extremes. And that certainly is an extreme, what I just mentioned.
You too.
But, I definitely am totally with you on that. But, one thing about feng shui, you do try to break it up a little bit.
Yes.
You don't want it to be all white or all what I call
I agree.
filler beige.
I agree.
So, the master bedroom to me is so pivotal. For example, I love using sage greens in there.
Yes.
And especially if there's some
Great
great trim, there's some great trim in there, I want it to pop. But when you have it a particular color that's too neutral and everything blends together, the whole house blends together, you're also not doing yourself a favor. So you always stay away from too far one way or the other.
I agree.
But
definitely agree.
Yeah.
Another terrible experience is to walk into a house that's all white. Everything, all the walls are white, all the appliances are white. And the refrigerator. You look in there. If they've got the house. With furniture and stuff, and most of the furniture is white. I'm going, this is a whiteout. I can't take it any longer. I need to get out of here. And that's why I think if you're going to go with a white, then you better contrast it with something other really dramatic, like a black, a dark color that really makes it pop.
It's funny. Every color actually represents an element in feng shui, and there are 5 elements in feng shui that you try to bring in to get the correct balance. But all white represents metal, and so the whole house like that is all metal. And again, that's an extreme. So it turns people off.
Yeah,
you just don't want to do that.
Yep.
Well, I think it's awesome. I think that there's definitely value. If I was in real estate, I would definitely want to take your course to learn how to sell houses faster, because I think it makes a big difference. So say one time again, Steve, your websites and how people get a hold of you.
Sure. The real estate one is www.thefengshuicure.com. And if you want to become a full consultant with the International Feng Shui Guild, which is our governing board, that is Intrinsic School of Feng Shui.com.
That's awesome. Well, I so appreciate you being with Doug and I. And Doug, thank you for being here with us on your vacation with your best friend from college, Ohio State.
It's funny. Tim played the same position I did, and he played in front of me. But I could never, ever, ever be mad at him because his personality was like off the charts. He was an excellent football player. My point was, I want to be around people more talented than me so I can learn things. And the same thing is true in real estate. I try to absorb. I watch all those shows. Steve, I love real estate. I love the tax benefits. It really bothers me when I hear our president say he's going to eliminate the 1031 exchange. I mean, things a lot of people don't realize that really make real estate special in a lot of people's lives.
Right. Yeah, I used to own a lot of rentals myself at one time, and pretty much drove my wife crazy. And it's not easy working with some of these people. When I finally got rid of my last one, which was about 4 years ago, that was still in Charlotte, I had to break open, something to drink real heavy. I was real happy to get rid of those folks. But yeah, I could tell you some stories, and I know you could also.
Well, Doug last week fixed a water filter on a refrigerator as he was driving. He was like, I'm going to fix a water filter on a rental.
Yes.
Right?
You know what though? They refused to use
They
the
were so grateful.
refrigerator until I did that. They would not use. They said that we're not opening the refrigerator door until you replace the filter. And I said, listen, I'm on my way down there right now with the filter. And they put it in there. They were almost like having a party. The red light went off in the refrigerator, which meant the filter, was working. They were like laughing like a party. I'm going, it really isn't that special. You could always go to the store and buy a gallon of water if you wanted to. It's not like your life depended on this filter. I said, otherwise you're going to be. So I left them 2 extra filters. That should last them the rest of the year. And they were as happy as can be. So I got 2 more renters that I know are not going to leave me for years.
Well, I guess
Yep.
what I'm trying to say, Doug, is that you're so kind and you're so hands-on with all of your people. Like you literally show up to help them. I love that.
It's hard sometimes, as Steve knows, trying to tell people some of the most simple things that make something better. They don't get it. I know the telephone is a great thing, especially as far as dramatics of the, cinematography and all those sort of things. But sometimes people just simply want you to show up and do it for them so that they can be happy the rest of their life.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Doug, you have a wonderful trip in Florida. And Steve, thank you so much for being
Thank
with
you,
us.
Steve. Thanks.
Yeah,
you, folks.
thank you for being with us. And
You're right on.
we're gonna all of our
Nice.
friends on YouTube, I'm going to put all of this out there, and
Okay.
this will go to our podcast and Buzzsprout and LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram.
Great.
And so we're going to, anybody who wants to get
that's
involved
great.
with feng shui, please find Steve, and I'll put all the links on so you guys can find him. But
All
we
right.
appreciate all of our fans for Sports and Shopping with Doug and I. We really appreciate your friendship. We appreciate all the comments and everything that you guys do. And we just thank you, and we just want you to have a blessed week. And if you're breathing, remember this, if you're breathing, you have a purpose. So keep going and seize the day always. All right, guys.
Thanks, Megan.
I'll see
Thank
you
you,
guys later.
everybody. Nice to meet you both.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.